Hello everybody, it's Shadows coming at you with another video, and today is going to be more of a rant type video. I just wanted to go over the state of Transformers in 2025. Start off the new year with some fun stuff, even though it's 22 days later. But yeah, so I apologize in advance. It is going to be more like of a rant, you know. So if you just want to sit back, watch the game footage I put together, you know, tag along, and we're going to have some fun. But yeah, so Transformers is a brand right now not doing the greatest. We've had a lot of recent box office flops, ever really since the last night back in, was it 2015? No, it couldn't have been. It was 2017 because Bumblebee was 18, right? Okay. And just by the way, this video is totally not scripted. This is just my pure thoughts. But yeah, so a bunch of failures. Not saying they were bad movies. Personally, Bumblebee was okay. There were some scenes I really enjoyed, mainly with the Decepticons. Like Blitzwing was awesome, kind of very short-lived, spoiler, but you know, if you haven't seen it now, you're not gonna go see it. You know, the Cybertron scene was okay. I do think it's very overhyped. And you know, Dropkick and Shatter, love those two. Dropkick was honestly my favorite character in the movie. But just how they treated Peter Cullen in that movie kind of bugged me, honestly. Where they hired somebody, I forget exactly who it was, but they hired somebody as Optimus Prime. In the early trailers, you heard it wasn't Peter Cullen, but then you had all the G1ers like, oh my god, why isn't Peter Cullen voicing Optimus? So they did end up hiring Peter Cullen, but instead of completely redoing the animation, the CG, because it was already matched to the other guy's voice, they told Peter Cullen to basically just redo the lines the exact same way as the other guy did, not like Peter Cullen did. So that's why if you listen to the Bayverse Optimus, he sounds a lot more like Optimus, natural Peter Cullen. But with Bumblebee, it's kind of like, it's still Peter Cullen and it's still Optimus, but it's just off, right? And they just treated him horribly with that. So like the animation and the voice, Peter Cullen's voice, he couldn't do his normal Optimus and give it the same love he had prior. And it was an 80s movie. I personally do not like the 80s at all. So, sorry. But, so it really just didn't vibe with me. And that was kind of the issue I had with Rise of the Beasts. It was a 90s movie. I don't really vibe with the 90s either. I'm from 2000, so everything like RID 2001, the Unicron trilogy, Prime, animated, more my speed. And I know people are going to hate me for this, but I do enjoy the Bayverse films. Are they all great? No. I still think, even with Transformers 1, that the 2007 movie is like the best Transformers movie. I really enjoyed it. And I can almost quote that thing from memory. That's just what I grew up with. I know a lot of people are going to come in here and say, oh my god, the 86 movie was the best one because it was the first. I'm sorry, like the first half was okay. I enjoyed the first half. But once basically Megatron becomes Galvatron, the rest of the movie felt like an acid trip. You go from so many different places, and it's just like, what? yeah. Um, it's an okay movie. I don't think it's amazing. Like, it's obviously a classic, and it has its nostalgia, and the first Transformers movie, but I don't know. That's kind of my opinion on G1. It's okay. It's definitely better than some of the recent crap that's come out, like Earthspark. I cannot stand Earthspark. They just do so many wrong things. But yeah, Revenge of the Fallen, I get why people hate it, kind of. Yeah, the humor was kind of teenagery, but I was a teenager at the time, so what the hell. Dark of the Moon, I used to not like Dark of the Moon, but I've definitely grown to appreciate it more. I strongly believe the first 3 movies are the best ones. I absolutely hated Age of Extinction, except for Evasion Mode Prime and the Dinobots. Never really liked Lockdown as a villain. Like, he's okay, but yeah. The Last Night, I'm gonna catch a lot of hate for this, but I did enjoy The Last Night. It's a god-awful movie, I agree, but I don't know. I liked it more than Age of Extinction because, one, the Transformers actually transformed, not whatever the hell the KSI shit was. That still was like the dumbest thing, I'm sorry. But yeah, I will say the trailers did mislead you for The Last Night. I remember thinking, when those scenes came out in the trailers of all of Optimus, he was Nemesis Prime, right? But in the movie, it was just Optimus. So I feel like we were kind of baited, because I remember that first trailer, second trailer, whatever it was, the one where Megatron was finally shown, when in the final battle with Optimus. I thought it was going to be like, ooh, maybe Megatron's not like on more of a protagonist role, kind of thing. Like, he was still doing things for himself, but he wasn't actively trying to like kill every Autobot or whatever. And I thought, they were going to have a nice dynamic of Megatron trying to take down Nemesis Prime and make him back into Optimus. We didn't get that, but that's a whole different rant I'll make another time. But yeah, Rise of the Beast, I still think, honestly, I did not enjoy that movie. I just don't like Beast Wars. I know a lot of people are going to shit on me for that, but I just never have, and I probably never will. My whole thing is, like, they look too, at least in the original Beast Wars, like, it looked like robots that turned into, like, actual animals. I didn't vibe with that. Rise of the Beast, it was a little bit better because they did look mechanical. But still, just not really, not something I vibe with. I do prefer, like, if they're gonna turn into, like, robot or animals, like the Dinobots, like FOC Grimlock. It looks like a T-Rex, but it's Cybertronian. It's robotic. It doesn't have any flesh or anything like that. Transformers Prime, the Predacons, especially Predaking, like, I absolutely adore Predaking in Prime. I think that's cool. Like, it's a robotic dragon. It doesn't look like just like a normal flesh and bones dragon kind of thing. But I digress. I just didn't like the story. I think they made a mistake adding Unicron in what was supposed to be the rebooted franchise, which I know still fans are all over it, and the producers saying, oh no, Bumblebee was a prequel, and oh no, Bumblebee was a reboot, and nobody knows what it's supposed to be. It was a lot of change, and it just, it was a whole nightmare. Same thing with Rise of the Beasts. Kind of makes no sense for them to be prequels, because why did Bayverse Optimus never mention literally banishing Unicron? And, all that. And, it's just a whole loop thing. So I know everybody's still divided on that. It should just be a reboot, but I know some of the producers are like, oh no, it's a prequel. Same thing with Transformers 1, where they're saying, oh no, it was set billions and billions and billions of years ago. Well, how does that make sense? Literally, a certain villain in Dark of the Moon would not exist if that was the case. But anyways, that's, again, a whole different rant, but you see where I'm going with this. They tried the aligned continuity. Just did not work. I kind of blame it on Marvel with their MCU. That's its own thing. It's cool, whatever. Not really a huge Marvel guy, but I've watched all the main movies up to Endgame and the Spider-Man movies. That's about it. But everybody tried to get in on that, especially Star Wars tried to do it, but it made a little bit more sense for Star Wars, because it was out of order to begin with. But when Transformers tried to do it, they tried to tie the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron games to Prime, and then to the books. I forget what else was supposed to be the aligned continuity, like RID 2015, I think Rescue Bots too, which, okay, not shitting on Rescue Bots or anything, but it's like that, okay, cool, but it just didn't work. They were similar, I suppose, but not, it just wouldn't make sense for the canon, whatever. If it was like the multiverse thing, I think it might have been a little bit better, but the multiverse trope is kind of overrated and an excuse for lazy writing at this point. But yeah, so that didn't go well. And I guess right now, again, the movies have just gone off the deep end, and I really hate it for Transformers 1, because I'll be the first one to say the marketing team did that dirty. So dirty. I remember, and I'll wholeheartedly admit this, when that first trailer came out, I genuinely thought I was going to despise that movie, right? The humor was bad, hey Darkwing, my finger transforms, whatever. That, it's okay. In context, it was a little bit better, but still, it was kind of okay, that's a little childish. And, just the trailer made it seem like it's just going to be a stupid kiddie movie. It's going to be aimed at kids, which, again, I get it. Transformers is a brand built on toys, and obviously kids are going to be the main focus, because that's where most of the money goes. I know us collectors are a big part too, but you gotta understand, it's toys, so who is the target audience for toys? Children. So anyways, but that second trailer, I was like, it's better, but I'm still gonna hate it. The third trailer, I was like, okay, I'm not optimistic, but I'm like, this looks a little bit better, right? So I originally had no intention of going to see it in theaters. I was gonna maybe watch it when it came out on streaming. It's kind of what I did with Rise of the Beasts. I did end up going into the theater to watch that one, and I remember I brought my family, and my dad was a Transformers fan back in the 80s and all that. He was not impressed with it. So it's a whole thing. But anyways, I remember me and my brother, we went to the opening night, technically the day before, because it was on a Friday, but we went and saw it Thursday night or Thursday afternoon after I got off work, whatever. Saw it in IMAX, which I got in the theater. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna turn my brain off, and maybe I'll get some enjoyment out of it. But when I tell you, I truly, I have never reacted to a movie like that since the first 3 Bayverse movies. I was thoroughly shocked. That was an incredible movie, right? But, again, that's why I say the marketing team did dirty, because its theatrical release was a failure. I think they ended up breaking even, at least, I think, once it opened up to the international market. But yeah, I know streaming, it's been really surging on the streaming platforms, like on Paramount Plus. I think that's the only where it's at. And yeah, I know I went and saw Transformers 1 3 times in the theater. Me and my brother went the first night. I think that weekend we took the whole family. They enjoyed it. And you would think my dad's normally not the animated movie anymore. So we've been trying to get him to watch Star Wars The Clone Wars, but he won't do it because, it's animation, which I get it, but at the same time, The Clone Wars was phenomenal. But yeah, even he was like, that was actually pretty good. So yeah, I went, I think, one more time by myself, saw it in IMAX again. I think when my family and I saw it, we went the PDX or RPX or whatever, which one it was. And when it came out on disc, physical copies, I bought it. When it came out on digital, bought it. I bought it twice on digital, I think on Apple and Xbox. And then I bought the 4K release physical disc. So I'm doing my part because honestly, it wasn't a perfect movie. And there were things I would definitely change. I'll definitely make a video about that at some point. But yeah, I do want that to succeed in the long run, where Paramount may consider making Transformers 2. I know the director was saying he wanted to make a trilogy, and then after the whole Transformers 1 situation, the CEO of Hasbro decided, oh no, we're not gonna fund movies anymore. So because they just lost a lot of money, which I get, but at the same time it's like, ugh. So yeah, not looking bright. It's definitely a little bit more hopeful as it's been a lot more popular on streaming. Yeah, but we'll see how that goes. And I don't know, I've seen many other YouTubers and people in the community. I'm in a bunch of the Facebook Transformer groups, and a lot of people are just like, we're not getting anything good anymore, right? Because it's kind of like the loud minority, and some will say it's the majority, but all people want right now is, oh, let's make G1, 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 G1. So Legacy, was heavily G1, which was unfortunate after we got the War for Cybertron trilogy. Honestly, I did not buy any G1 characters. I think maybe just, I think I bought Siege Optimus and Siege Megatron and Galvatron. And that's it. I just really didn't care for any others. I bought a couple back when it was still going on just because I wanted new figures, but I ended up selling a majority of them. But, I was like, okay. And then with Legacy, where they were releasing some Transformers Prime figures, which weren't the greatest, the initial ones at least, and again it was just more G1. I was like, man, that's kind of bummed. And they've been doing a lot of reissues too, which is also a problem. But like when they branched out, like with the Cybertron Starscream, that to me was amazing, because we have not seen an updated Cybertron figure, you could say technically, since the Siege Galaxy Prime, but that figure wasn't great. I really hope they go back and redo him, because he deserves so much more. And then like Tarn, Bludgeon, some of the IDW figures, trying to remember who else I've gotten from Legacy, RID 2001 Sideburn, to go along with the HasLab Omega Prime, which cannot wait for that to come. I think it's sometime this year, so I definitely pre-ordered one. This is going to be my first HasLab, so very excited. I really I do enjoy RID 2001. Is it perfect? No, it's kind of trash, but it's still enjoyable. I just have a soft spot for it. And Megatron turning into a giant hand is just peak cinema. But yeah, just stuff like that, like the animated figures. I think the only one I don't have right now is Prowl. I have Optimus, I have Bumblebee. Was there any other animated universe? I'm not really interested in Motor Master. I'm trying to remember if there was any more. I don't think so. But correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think a lot of it, and even with like Studio Series, that was specifically for the movies, and then they made the subline of the 86 movie, which they've been extremely, like, I think that's where most of the budget goes, and it's very unfortunate because, you know, you've seen it, a lot of the Studio Series figures, the Bayverse figures, have suffered, and even with the Gamer Edition, where with the War for Cybertron characters, which I was so excited when those were announced. I still am getting all the figures, but some of them are just bad. I still enjoy like the Decepticon Soldier and Barricade. I have 6 of the soldiers. Like, I enjoy them, but they're just not great. But yeah, it's just, it seems like a downgrade, and all the budget's going to the SS-86. And that's honestly unfortunate, and like, just some of the choices they're making, like the deluxe class Optimus from Devastation, like, it looks atrocious. I was never really a fan of Devastation, so I could definitely do without, and I'm not picking that up, but it's just like, we just got SS-86 Optimus, which looks cool, but not $90 cool, and, you know, scalper prices if, you know, you can't find it readily available in your area. You know, it's just like, okay. And then they're finally going into like more Bayverse figures, like the AoE TLK leader class Optimus. Should not be a leader class, but here we are. And just, I'm trying to think of what else they just released or announced. The Wheeljack, or Q, looks okay. Don't really have an interest. Yeah, it's, I don't know. But anyways, just, the Age of the Primes is starting to look okay. Like, Megatronus looks awesome. I love that he comes with the Requiem Blaster as his, like, fusion cannon. Or just a handheld weapon. Solus looked good. Prima looks good. I'm still kind of peeved at the Cybertron Vector Prime, because it was just a remold of the G-Axis figure, which was not great, and it just does not work for Vector Prime, if I'm being honest. I am going to get the DNA design kit to make it a little bit better, though, but still. And it's in the official art of the Age of Primes, so they're not changing it, I don't think. What else? Reactivate getting canceled. We haven't had a good Transformers game since I say Fall of Cybertron because I just really don't care for Devastation. It's G1, so it's kind of like and the cell shading, I've never been a fan of it. Like, it looks cool, don't get me wrong, and you're talented, especially some of these customizers with their, like, masterpiece figures. It's cool, and, you know, kudos to you for taking that much time and effort to do that and making it look good. But, like, I don't know. I just don't really like cell shaded. That's just a me thing. But, you know, Reactivate's been in production how long? And they've gone through many different things. I do have some of the one of the developers, after it got canceled, went to, I think, Reddit or something, and posted about what it was, and, you know, the development was just atrocious, and they lost funding, and nobody knew what it was going to be, and it went from, like, a AAA game to, like, a live service game to XYZ, and it was just a mess, and it had been going on for a while, and then nobody said anything, and just a whole thing. I honestly really didn't care for Reactivate. Everything I saw, I didn't like. That initial trailer, the only trailer, I didn't like the premise of humans controlling Transformers. I don't like that. Like, kind of like the Headmasters, I did not like that. And I didn't like the it's going to be a 4-player co-op campaign kind of thing. I kind of started with FOC as my first, like, online Transformer game, and I mean, I've honestly built so many friendships from that game, and it's, I mean, still very sentimental in my heart. Like, I was devastated when the server shut down a few years ago. I forget exactly how many years ago, but I was in the process. I'd finally gotten a capture card, was in the middle of doing a series with my 2 good friends, doing a War for Cybertron playthrough, and the server shut down, and you know, that was kind of like my escape from life at the time. That's when COVID was going on, had some family issues and all that mess, but anyways, not going there. But yeah, Reactivate was just a mess, and it should have been canceled way long ago, and I'm personally okay with it being canceled. I know everybody's gonna jump and be like, oh my god, you want the franchise to fail. No, I really don't. But with the way they're going, it's just like, it ties into, like, gaming in general, in the West, right? AAA gaming is kind of dog water right now. That's absolute shit. And, you know, the East is just dunking on us big time. And it's just, I mean, they're forcing way too many political agendas and social issues that, you know, most gamers, you know, we're not hateful people. We just want to play a good game with a good story and, you know, escape from reality. We don't want it in, you know, we don't want to be playing reality. We have to do that every day. So, you know, that's a whole different topic, but just with every AAA game that's come out so far recently, I don't really play anything anymore new because it's just like, it just doesn't look good, doesn't interest me, or there's controversy around it. They're pushing this or that or whatever. I just want to sit down and play a freaking game, man. And you can do that with, like, Fall of Cybertron. Like, there's no current, like, real world issues. It's just Transformers. And that's what I think Transformers as a brand has strayed away from. You know, I know everybody has been just dying for a movie completely set on Cybertron, and we did get that with Transformers 1. like I said, people had mixed reactions about it because of the animation or the designs, which I totally get. Some of the designs were kind of like kind of weird, but I mean that's kind of been the same for Transformers since Bumblebee. Like, I know the Bumblebee Optimus, his legs were way too skinny. Shockwave with like the massive thunder thighs, and then like chicken leg, not chicken leg, but like stupid thin shins, and just like Soundwave, and it's just, the designs were not great. But yeah, I really do believe with just the direction they've been going in, it's probably a good thing we didn't get Reactivate out, because it probably would have been a massive failure. Personally, I think it would have been, because, I mean, contrary to popular belief, but just from what I've seen on Twitter, Instagram, like anywhere, YouTube, the Reactivate community was extremely toxic, right? Like, they would just eat you alive, kind of thing. Kind of like with Earthspark, if I'm being honest. And that kind of goes to my point. The Transformers fandom in general is just abysmal right now. Like, there's a lot of great people in the fandom, and then there's a lot of trash people. And I guess that can be said of most fandoms, especially like kind of like Star Wars. I think this is kind of where it correlates in Marvel and everything. It's just a lot of things changing societally and all that mess. But it's just like, okay, I don't know. It's just the fandom, right? Like, you have the G1ers that hate everything that's not one-to-one G1, and everything after G1 is awful. You have the Beast Wars people, which I call the furries of the Transformers community. One of my close friends falls into that category. If you're watching this, you know who you are. But you have the Bayverse people that live and breathe Bayverse. You have the Unicron trilogy people. You have the Prime lovers and the haters. You have the Earthspark community, the comic community, and like so many different subdivisions. And just most of them are just so toxic anymore. Like, the G1ers are up there, man. Like, I get it, it's original, but original doesn't always mean best, to me at least. I know typically it is, but in the case of Transformers, not really. Again, just may go back to my bias against the 80s, but that's just me, whatever. But, it's just so crazy, and everything going on in the world, pushing different political climates and all this mess. You've seen a shift, especially like I guess Devastation would be like the last true, like, not going in a certain way. I guess maybe already 2015. I always say 215, but you know what I mean. I don't know, like, ever since Prime, no good series has come out. Like, I will admit, RID 2015 is my guilty pleasure. Like, I do enjoy it, some of it. Do I think it's a worthy successor of Prime? No. Do I appreciate the Easter eggs and, like Soundwave? Yeah, I love Soundwave in RID 2015. He was cool, and we got to see Megatronus. He was cool. design was kind of weird, all legs, but you know, whatever. I just didn't like the Decepticons being like creatures kind of thing. Like, that was weird. I did not like that, but Starscream looked cool. And just some of the old Viacon designs. I think there was an Arachnid design, whatever. But yeah, it was not great. It was pretty abysmal. But I do prefer it to a lot of newer stuff like Earthspark. Like, I think RID 2015 is way better than Earthspark in every way. I do not like Earthspark. And before anybody comes and says, oh, it's because of a certain character, and you know who I'm talking about, it has nothing to do with that. Do I think that belongs in a children's show? No, but that's a whole different debate. But you know what? Whatever. That's not the end of the world kind of thing. So I'm not counting that in my hatred of Earthspark. I just don't like... One, I do not like the designs. I do not like the animation. I hate the way they did Megatron. They tried to make it like IDW Autobot Megatron, and they butchered it. I do like IDW Autobot Megatron. I did like that storyline. Like, one of the most iconic pictures is towards the end when he's fighting Tarn and the DJD, and he gets his fusion cannon back. Like, that was such a badass scene. But Earthspark, he's commanded by a human, and it's like, what? Like, you're not Megatron. But that's a whole separate thing. But yeah, it has nothing to do with the one character. I know, basically, if you say you hate Earthspark, it's because of that. That is not why I hate it. I have a lot more reasons than that. And that's not even a reason at all. But anyways, it's just, we haven't gotten anything good, right? I enjoyed Cyberverse. Season 1 was kind of blah. Season 2 and beyond were awesome. But, again, catered towards kids. Although I will say, Season 2, I think it was episode 1 or 2, with Megatron and Starscream, like, I was like, ooh, I think that was like one of the most brutal Megatron whooping Starscream's ass ever. But yeah, it just that just made me think the Netflix trilogy, absolutely. Oh, that was such a meme, and it could have been something so good, but it was so trash. I've only watched that all three twice. That's all I could sit through. The animation was good, right? The designs, I hated, and I know I've told my friends this before, but let's take Energon and Cybertron, right? Energon, all the designs were the toy, right? That was out. With some minor tweaks, but not a lot. Cybertron was better. It was still based on the figures, but they at least tweaked the designs to make it look better. Like Megatron, was more proportionate. Optimus was a little bit more proportionate. Trying to think of who else. Like Hotshot looked better. Override. Override looked a lot better. Trying to think of anybody else. Starscream looked more proportionate. If you had the leader class, like, his forearms were so stubby, and it just would not look good if they used just the toy model in the show. But with Netflix, the Netflix trilogy, it's just the figure. Like, Siege Chromia, that mold, like, you see the entire backpack. You see the gaps in the forearms, like, of Siege Megatron. You have the backpack. Megatron, it kind of was like, okay, you can kind of get away with it, but like, yeah, like with Chromia and some of the others, it just looked so bad with the kibble, right? But like with, I think the Kingdom characters, like Alita 1, RC, and I think Bumblebee 2, because the Bumblebee figure wasn't out yet. But like, those looked better because it wasn't just the toy, like it was, you know, a tweaked design. And I liked that, right? If they would have done that for every character, I think I would have liked it a little bit better. The voice acting was atrocious. It was so dumb. You know, you've seen the meme of the war, and that's like half the damn series. You know, it's kind of like, some of the story was okay, but it just, yeah, no. Oh, Galvatron is the one I was thinking of. That was a different design. It wasn't just the Kingdom Galvatron figure. You know. Anyways, I'm not gonna rant too much about that, but like, it was not good. A lot of people were really hoping like it was gonna be good, but it just was not. And just some of the writing was bad and whatever. Like, I will say, and again, I know I'm gonna get hate for it, but the Prime Wars trilogy, what was it? Combiner Wars, Titans Return, and then Power of the Primes. I thought those were great. Not great, but they're way better than the Netflix trilogy. Because they had just better designs, still based on the figures, but, you know, spiced up to look good. And that's one of my favorite Megatrons too, the Prime Wars trilogy Megatron. He was just, I liked him as a character. You know, but yeah, just, we haven't gotten anything good. And I think everybody's just burned out because we're like, okay, well, it's been one failure after another, kind of like Star Wars and Marvel. It's kind of like everything right now, because all of our beloved franchises have been infiltrated and absolutely thrown to shit. Just, there's no passion anymore. Like, with Prime, there was passion put into that show. Animated, there was passion put into it, right? And it was just focused on telling the story of the Transformers, not adding this political stance, that political stance, this social issue, that social issue, you know, and all that. And I just think that's where Transformers has been rapidly declining. You know, I'll use Megatron as an example. You might have known that he's been out of movies since The Last Knight, and he was kind of trash in The Last Knight, but his design was really cool, but he was such an underutilized character. And the first time we seen him in a movie was with Transformers 1, and I liked him in Transformers 1, but, you know, you only got a few minutes with him, kind of thing. Actual Megatron, not D16, but, you know, that's a topic for later. I'm glad he's been out of it, but at the same time, it's like, it sucks, because, I mean, it shouldn't surprise you. Megatron is my favorite Transformers character of all time. Like, Megatron is just my number one, for various different reasons, not just because he's evil and whatever. It's a lot more to it than that. I love his backstory, multiple backstories, whatever. You know, and like with Earthspark, when they put him in Earthspark, like, I just, like, what is that? Like, that's not Megatron. I know you're trying to go the redemption route, like a lot of series and franchises are going, where it's like, oh, well, we're gonna make the villain turn good, and, you know, they have a redemption arc, which is fine if it's done right, but it seems like we don't have any villains that are straight up just villains anymore. Like, it's gotta be something. We have to get an origin story. Like, and in that respect, Transformers 1, I think, did it better than anything that's come out in recent years. Like Mufasa, that one completely butchered Scar as a character. I'm not too versed in The Lion King, but when you watch the original Lion King, the animated one, Scar is vastly different than Mufasa, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. But anyways, not gonna go into that, but it's just, they're not focusing on Transformers anymore. And I get it, you have to have humans to make it more relatable, and you're gonna get the general audience with Transformers, only if there's humans. And I hate to say it, but look at what happened with Transformers 1, but I think that was mainly just because of the marketing. But, you know, and I'll always go back to, like, the Cybertron games. War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron. No humans. Yes, it's a video game, but, like, that story was phenomenal, right? Like, that was good. Prime, I liked. The humans were like, eh. I will say they were kind of my favorite human partners, I guess. I did enjoy Armada's human characters. I did enjoy I enjoyed Kicker only because I remember I watched Death Note, the dub, and which I can't believe I watched dubs, but the same voice actor. So I was just like, I would always say, oh, that's Light, or whenever I would watch Death Note, oh, that's Kicker, and, you know, all that. Anyways, he was just a meme. He was kind of like, okay, but the Cybertron trilogy, not trilogy, trio, I liked them. I think that was well done. I liked having the brother dynamic. That was that kind of resonated with me, like with Kobe, because he had a younger brother. I have a younger brother, whatever. So I just kind of relate to them more. Animated, sorry, was okay. She got better as time went on. And then just some of the human characters in there. I love animated. Like, animated was great. It was goofy, but it was like, that's what I want in something Transformers. It's something new, but it's also taking inspiration from previous iterations. Like, you had Megatron, animated Megatron, his Cybertronian form, I think is like one of my all-time favorite Megatron designs. Like, he looks menacing. You had the inspiration from Bayverse. You had the inspiration from G1. Trying to think. I don't think any others. But I know, like, when you went to Prime Megatron, I think was heavily based on Cybertronian animated Megatron. Just the feet, the design, the shoulders, even the head. So, you know, stuff like that's cool, right? Not just the same Megatron's Walther P-38 or, you know, whatever. Which, I'm sorry, I just don't like G1 Megatron. Like, he's cool and all, but, like, turning into a gun is like, okay, that's kind of... The whole mass shifting thing, it's like, that just doesn't make sense. Which, again, I know it's sci-fi, it doesn't need to make sense, but why would you turn into something that, you know, relies on another person, usually Starscream, to operate you? So it never made any sense to me. Like, I could see Galvatron more. He turned into a mobile, or I don't even know what to call it, like a movable turret, right? Or a gun emplacement. You can move, right? And he didn't need anybody else to fire him, kind of thing. That's a whole different story. I am gonna do like a ranking of Megatron or something. We'll see. But yeah, anyways, I can't believe I've been rambling for almost an hour now. But yeah, I don't think Transformers is going in a particularly good direction. Age of the Primes, I do like what they're going for. We've never had the 13 Primes in figure form before, so that's really cool. But I know Earthspark got canceled, thank God. And they're replacing it with, what's it called, like Cyber World or something like that. Just what I've seen from that, not really all that hopeful. Megatron is apparently turning into a bull, and I already not really vibing with that. There's no games. The only games we're getting is like Battlegrounds and the mobile games, which I used to play Earth Wars, but I just wasn't that interesting. You know, what else? Galactic Trials, I think, is coming out, but that's a racing game. Like, that's not really a Transformer game for me, but, you know, I want the option to go in and actually be able to transform and be a Transformer. Or otherwise, it's just another NASCAR, Forza, or whatever racing game. I really do think maybe if they really wanted a good game, right, and I think that would make them a boatload of money, do something similar to War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. Make it kind of like the Transformers 2007 game, where you technically have a free roam mode that you have like various different side quests you can do. Like you had to collect Energon cubes, you could do various different like side battles, stuff like that. And destructible environment, that was peak, like that was amazing. I would always just, you know, if I had a bad day, hop on, go to the Mission City map with Megatron and just start blowing everything up, you know, like that's cool, right? So do something like that. Maybe make it an open world. You could have the pre-established characters, you know, new designs, whatever, and no humans, and keep all the politics and social issues out of it. Just focus on Transformers. I think you would have a very good game, and make it multiplayer, kind of like War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, because that was just amazing. It was cool. Like, there's no other game like it to me, where your character can transform into a different vehicle, either it be a car, a jet, a tank, you know, an SUV, a bug, a dinosaur. Like, that's cool. And you can make your own custom characters. That is one thing I really want in a Transformers game, is something like that where I can make my own characters. I think that would give them a lot more, you know, people can make what they want to make. And, you know, that just adds creativity. You have people that are, you know, will try to make certain characters with different armor pieces, all that fun stuff. And I would like, you know, for FOC, I would like to have the option to, you have your male characters and then your female characters, right? Like Slipstream, RC, all that. I know there's not as many as the male because it's mainly a male-dominated franchise, which, again, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying it's exclusively for male, but it's okay for something to be mainly male. It doesn't have to be, you know, all that. But I'm probably going to get hate for that, but it's like 12 in the morning. I don't really care at this point, you know what I mean? Because I have a bunch of female friends that used to play FOC with us, so I'm not saying I don't want anybody else in the game. But, like, I think it would be cool to select, like for your custom character, have your male characters. You can make a male character, and then you could make a female character, or maybe you could even have one slot that's for male characters and one slot that's for female, and you can alternate between the two. Because I know a lot of my friends, if they have the option to make a character, they always play female characters, and they're like the pearliest dudes. It's always funny. You see the memes on Instagram and all that. But I think that would be cool, because I know, especially some of my female friends that did play FOC, is like, we love the male characters and everything, like, they look cool, but it'd be also cool if we had the female characters, like Slipstream, RC, and, their parts, and you can make a female custom character. I think that would be perfect. Even something like an MMO. That would be kind of cool. Have an open world. You can do various different missions with people or against people, solo, whatever. And you have your custom characters. I think it was going to be Transformers Online, the Chinese game. That was going to be something similar to that, but it never got off the ground. Or no, that was an Overwatch type shooter kind of thing. That's right. Or I don't know. It's been so long since I've seen that. But anyways, yeah, I think that's what they should do. Will they do it? No, because just the current climate's not going to allow that. And, it's got to be this box, this box, this box, this box, and we don't care about the story. We just care about checking the boxes, which a lot of the AAA games in the West, that's all you see. And how are they doing? They're not doing great. So that's a whole thing, and that's kind of an overarching issue. But Transformers, I think, is just going down with the failure of Transformers 1 in the box office, Hasbro not doing any more movies, Reactivate being canceled. I know that's killed a lot of people because it's been years since we got a actual Transformers game. I think Devastation, was it Devastation or Rise of the Darkspark was the last Transformers game we got, and Rise of the Darkspark was a mess. Yeah, that was a mess. But the movies haven't been doing great. The G.I. Joe crossover movie after Rise of the Beast, I've heard it doesn't even have a director, and it's probably just going to get canceled, which I honest to God hope it does, because I think every single one of their G.I. Joe movies, except I think Snake Eyes, absolutely bombed. And, it's not a good idea to take a dead franchise and put it on Transformers, and then it's going to tank too. Because if people aren't watching the G.I. Joe movies, why are they going to watch the Transformers that has G.I. Joe in it, kind of thing, right? But that's neither here nor there. The figures are getting cheaper, I want to say. They're getting smaller. They're going up in price. The distribution is atrocious. You either have people getting all of the figures in one area, and then for me, for example, I get I think I'm just now starting to see Legacy Optimus Prime, the animated one, in my Walmart and in my Target. And how long has that been out? It's a mess, and they don't even sell Commander class Titans or the MPMs at Target anymore. So I've missed out on a lot of figures, and then scalpers will eat up all the figures, and you're screwed. So, but yeah, I know this has been a long rant video. I really do hope Transformers can save itself. If they need to take a break for a year, 2, 3 years, whatever, and really sit down, replace everybody they have, because everybody right now is not doing hot. Sit down. I think they should start to do, make something, I guess, kind of like the expanded universe or whatever, and just stick to that. Stop trying to reboot or tie it into everything else. Just start from somewhere, kind of like with Transformers 1. Start there, go from there, and then you can branch off in that universe, kind of thing. I think that would be more efficient for people. And you know, it's very hard to get people into Transformers because you show them one thing and then they watch another one. They're like, hey, what the hell is this? Why is it so different? Like, you show somebody Bayverse and then you show them Beast Wars. What the hell? You know, it's so different, and they're not all connected, but sometimes they try to be, and you know, all that. Like, it's just a mess. Where are people gonna fall in? So I think it's just very confusing. Whereas like Marvel, you can go, oh, here's Iron Man, go there. That ties into the Avengers, and Thor ties into the Avengers. Spider-Man goes somewhere in there. Hulk, Black Widow, all that mess. Like, it made sense because it pivoted into one thing until they started doing the multiverse crap. I think that's what Transformers needs to do, is just start something. Like, you could even use Transformers 1, start there, and just go from there, stick to that, and then you get more people because it's continuous, it's consistent, it follows a set path. It's not going from Bayverse to G1 to Beast Wars to RID 2015, from Earthspark to Energon, you know, crazy things like that. But we'll see if they get their act together. I'm not really too hopeful, which I hate to say, because I love Transformers, and this is like my passion franchise, and this is the one I really do not want to lose to people that just don't care about it, just want to make money. And I know at the end of the day, that's what all these are for, is to make money, but I just want more people to put passion into it, like with the Cybertron games. Like, High Moon did a fantastic job because it melded a lot of different ideas, and it was its own thing, and it was so good. Same thing with like Prime, animated, all the stuff that's come out in the early 2000s, I guess. But yeah, so I will shut up now. It has been over an hour of me ranting. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments. Like I say, you know, just be respectful. Don't start going crazy. It's totally fine to agree with me, totally fine to disagree with me, and you know, I do want to hear your guys' thoughts. Maybe you have a different perspective than I do, and you know, let's have a civil discussion in the comments if you want. But yeah, if you stuck around this long, I appreciate you. You were a real one, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. If you enjoy this type of video, or you just enjoyed this video on its own, please drop a like, drop a subscription, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on a future video of mine. And I hope you got something out of this today. But yeah, so I will see you guys in the next video, and until then, drink and destroy.